What is up, my friends, and how's it going? And welcome back to the 6th episode of our Let's Play series as the Sweboz with your fellow comrade Summary. In the previous episode, we managed to declare war against Roma, we quickly took over Genoa, we conquered Latium unopposed, and even Beneventum. Of course, the objective of this episode is to continue our war against the Romans. However, there has been some developments happening in different parts of the map. As you can see, in the northwest we have Britannia, Iceni against the Averni. The Averni have managed to grow quite sizable, and there's quite a bit of back and forth between these two factions, which is kind of nice because it prevents one of them from getting too strong. However, the major cause of concern is Massalia. They are losing their diplomatic rating with us because of our war against the Romans, and they currently have 3 armies over here in Cisalpina. So I have gone ahead and marched one of my armies up here to counter their movements. Meanwhile, I have 2 other armies that are ready to push into Magna Graecia and conquer the remainder of Magna Graecia. Now, down in the south, the Ptolemies and the Romans are busy exchanging settlements of Leptis Magna as well as Euphronta, of course. But that's kind of good because it's keeping the Romans engaged in that region. Now, I would like to take over Sicily as well because it is a very good food province. And also, I would like to take over Alalia because it does have that important iron resource, which means I can dismantle the one in Raetia at Noricum and build a shield maker over here, meanwhile focusing on, of course, growth rate in Raetia at Noricum. Raetia at Noricum at 89%, I can bump that up to 100%, which would be ideal, especially considering that it is a military recruitment province. However, without any further ado, let us quickly have a look at all of our characters. All of them have been leveled up, level 10s, each and every single one of them. We have gone ahead and assassinated some characters that we do not require. This guy over here is a narcissist, so we will have to assassinate him. Let's go ahead and do that. He's of no use, really, and apart from that, no other political actions to be done. We're just quickly taking a look to see if we can promote any characters. We do have a new character, Hardovich, who was, who's our new faction heir. He did partake in the invasion of Latium in the previous episode. However, let's take a quick look at our provinces. We are going to stack up the cattle pens as well as the salt workshop, because the salt workshop actually gives an additional food from livestock as well as from fishing ports. So it's a really powerful building to have. It has no real negative modifiers except for the fact that it requires salt resource, but we kind of own Asculum, which has the salt resource, so that's not much of a problem. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and build up our other provinces. Over here in Norea, we want to build up our military barracks, since we're not really recruiting any Germanic cavalry, since they're really inferior to, of course, the AOR and mercenary options available to us. Excuse me. Let's quickly move Harjas to Tenterigos into the settlement of Genoa, and as you can see, we have 3 Massalian stacks over here. Quick look at some of our spies. We will need to send a spy to investigate what's going on in Narbonensis for our eventual invasion. Meanwhile, we're busy converting Latium that is recently being conquered. We have 29% Germanic culture, 42% Latin culture. Of course, we are increasing our Germanic culture at a very fast rate, and at about 10 turns we should have Germanic as the dominant culture. Meanwhile, in Magna Graecia, of course, we only have 9% Germanic versus 43% Latin, so it's going to take a while. We do have a dignitary in the province helping with the cultural conversion, but it will still take some time for us to culturally convert that province. Meanwhile, we have a spy down here. We are going to move him into Sicily and deploy him, get a line of sight of what is going on in Sicilia, of course. However, with that, what we want to do in this turn is we want to go ahead and attack Cosentia with our faction leader, of course, and it's a pretty good auto resolve, so I'm just going to take it. There are no Roman armies in the region. We can go ahead, sack as well as loot the settlement. We don't really care about that, and we're going to do pretty much the same with Harjas 3 Cartagos, led by Hardovich, our faction heir. Quick and easy auto resolve. There we have it. And we're going to sack it once again, and we are going to assault it and loot it, and this gives us a lot of money. We have almost 800,000 denarii in the treasury, 43,000 denarii we are making per turn. Let's go ahead and deploy Harjas 3 Katajos into the port of Taras. That should help with the replenishment rate at the end of the turn. However, we want to go ahead and dismantle all other buildings. We can repair that building and convert it into a bard's hut. Meanwhile, all of the other buildings we will go ahead and dismantle. Quick look at our overall summary. We are really close to Imperium level 5. That is a really good Imperium level, because then we can have 4 new armies, and that is exactly what we want. Meanwhile, over here we do have pirates, but they are pretty strong, so I will not attack them just yet. Alright, another thing that we were doing is we are busy moving our dignitary down south. Over here we're going to move him into Narbonensis and try to culturally convert the province. Meanwhile, we have this guy who is a governor general or future governor general. We're going to move him towards Treverorum, try to get some of that Reme Maripos cavalry in preparation for our new armies, and of course we can even move him down towards Narbonensis to get what is that, a cavalry called the Volke veteran cavalry. However, with that, the last thing we need to do is check to see if we can upgrade any characters, and we are going to be focusing on that cultural conversion as well as the research rates. Very important. Our food is starting to look really good. Meanwhile, we have leveled up this guy over here, so we can give him some abilities. We have even got army traditions. We want the Führer Germanicus as well as the Frontier Conquerors and the Hearthbear Guard. Finally, Sweboz 1 has leveled up, so we can go ahead, give him the final level of Chieftains Chosen. That's really good. Formidable Fighters and Wolves of the North. We are going to focus on Wolves of the North and Hearthbear Guard as the next upgrades. But just take a look at our damage. Our weapon damage of the Cheruski Assault Infantry is a whopping 37, plus 2 bonus, so that's plus 2 bonus versus infantry. That makes it 39 overall weapon damage. And of course, if you take a look at some of our other units as well, they'd be doing quite some insane amount of damage, which is really great. Combine that with, of course, our battle rhythm ability, and that will really give us a lot of damage, guys. However, with that, let's go ahead, end the turn, and I will see you all in the future. The idea over here is to proceed back up north and kind of replace our armies here and there. What we want is Harjas to Tencterijos to be in the south near Cosentia. Just hold out on the province or that region. It is a very good choke point. Any Roman armies that venture into Sicilia and towards Magna Graecia has to cross the settlement of Cosentia, and what that means is that we just need one army to hold on to the entirety of Italy. Meanwhile, we'll be moving both of our armies, Harjas 1 Sweboz as well as Harjas 1 Harjas 3 Katajos, all the way up north. And once we reach Genoa, we're going to send one of those armies to invade Alalia. Alright, welcome to the future. We have moved Harjas 1 Sweboz close to Alalia, and we can go ahead and attack the settlement. We're going to do that real quick. Easy auto resolve. We can sack the settlement and we can loot the settlement. That should bring us to about 1 million denarii in the bank. Of course, we're making 47,000 denarii per turn, so things are looking really good. We're going to deploy into the port once again, just so that we can replenish in this turn. Go ahead, dismantle all of the buildings. And we have a dignitary that we are going to move towards Alalia itself. That is because Latium is now Germanic culture, guys. Meanwhile, over here we do have a Roman army of full stack that's over there. We're waiting in ambush over here. Hopefully once he attacks me over there, then I will be able to push into Sicily. I might need just one army. Hopefully the Egyptians manage to take out more of Africa. Meanwhile in the north, things seem to be going quite well for the Celts or the Gallic factions. They're pushing against the Iceni, so things are moving back and forth between these two guys. And of course we do have the Iceni full stack over here that could take out Cenobum, but we'll have to see how that pans out. Meanwhile we have our character over here who's busy trying to recruit some Reme Maripos cavalry, and what we are going to do is we're going to try to move down south, try to move towards Massalia as well, and try to get some Volcae cavalry, and we're just going to keep moving him back and forth between these two provinces, trying to recruit as many mercenaries as we possibly can, because very soon we will be hitting that Imperium level 5, which means we'll have 4 new armies, so we'll need quite a lot of of cavalry. We'll need at least 12 units of cavalry, so we just have 1 out of the 12 for now. Meanwhile, we can take a quick look at all of our characters. They all seem to be fine. Faction leader doesn't have to educate anyone. Meanwhile, all of our characters have leveled up. Our factionaire is 301 gravitas, which is higher than any other character, so things are looking good in that regard. All in all, everything is looking fine. We can go ahead and even promote this character. Will give us some extra taxation rate, which is really great. And apart from that, nothing much else to do. Of course, we have a lot of Massilian stacks here, so when we eventually decide to attack Massalia, which is what we need to do, the AI is actually playing really good. So when we attack Massalia in the future, we will get access to Roman Hispania, which is a really lucrative province to hold. Meanwhile, the Macedonians chilling over here in the sea. I wish they kind of land and try to move towards Syracuse. They have a lot of armies over here. I don't mind if they actually help me in grinding down the Romans. However, with that, let's just go ahead, end the turn, and I will see you all in the future when this army kind of moves back towards Genoa. Alright guys, welcome to the future. Faction has joined the war against Roma. Quite a lot of notifications on seasonal conditions. Roma was attacked by the Macedonians over here. They've lost a significant portion of this army over here, which means I can go ahead and attack Syracuse. That is the goal. However, before we go ahead and do that, let's take a quick look at our provinces. We're making 52,000 denarii. We are really skyrocketing in terms of our economy. Of course, we will have half of that value once, of course, we get our 4 new armies. However, for now, we're still recruiting up some cavalry over here. Meanwhile, the Massilians have kind of left my territory. They have 2 Averni stacks over here. Hopefully attack these guys, and then if they do that, then in the next turn I can go ahead and attack the Massalians. That is the plan, of course. Let's see how that goes. Meanwhile, what I want to do is I want to put this guy into the port and move this guy over here so that he gets extra movement range in the next turn, of course. But for now, we're going to take a quick look at our politics. Our political parties seem to be very loyal. We can go ahead and educate some characters, so let's just go ahead and do that. Meanwhile, we can also keep improving relationships with our political rivals using the send gift, which also gives our factionaire a lot of gravitas, and we're trying to build up his gravitas, of course. Apart from that, we do have still the piracy situation up here in the north. We just keep sending them away from our lands, and then we just don't mind docking back into the port. That is because they have quite a lot of fleet. They should eventually die out if nothing happens, if they're not able to conquer a settlement, and that's what I'm hoping for, because I don't really have the ability to you know, completely wipe them out. We don't have a very sizable navy. Meanwhile, Latium itself, and of course even Magna Graecia, has converted into Germanic culture. Latium is losing public order per turn, so we are using our youngest female character to keep improving the relationship in Latium, so that it gets some public order per turn. However, with that, we are busy researching the Temple of the Oak, which gives +6 cultural conversion, but more importantly allows us to get the final level of Bardic Circle, which makes subsequent technology research a lot faster. A quick look at the overall situation. As you can see, the Ptolemies still pushing in, the Macedonians not doing really much. They have an army over here, and I wish it kind of moves downwards towards Sicilia to help me out. Meanwhile in Iberia, it seems like the Lusitania are making some gains. Meanwhile the Averni are looking quite stable, although of course the Belgians have managed to conquer Cenabum from the Pictones, who had recently conquered it. Massalia is at war with the Aquitani, and so they have moved two of the armies here towards the west to deal with that threat. Two of the armies, as you saw earlier, near those Averni armies, which means the Averni could possibly wipe them out. They do have quite a good 2 full stacks that can potentially wipe out these armies. That's what I want to see. I want to see them wiped out so that Octodoran is secure. And if Octodoran is secure, then pretty much I have no fear. I can push my invasion into Massalia. However, that being said, let us just go ahead and attack Syracuse. We can attack it. It might seem like the auto-resolve is horrible, but we can do the night attack right here. And 69%, that's a really good auto-resolve. We are going to go ahead, sack the settlement. We're going to attack it again, and this time we have finally reached Imperium level 5. We're still a much better army than the Romans, of course. We're going to deploy ourselves into the port. Go ahead, dismantle buildings actually. Let's go ahead and dismantle this. Meanwhile, we can convert this into a port, dismantle all of the other buildings, of course. We do have a dignitary that will be moving into Syracuse to help with the cultural conversion of Sicilia, of course. And slowly but surely, we're going to conquer the entire province, gain another food province in our favor. However, with that, let's go ahead, end the turn, and I will see you all in the future when we are ready to push deeper into Sicily and attack the Massalians. We have gone ahead and cancelled all of our agreements with the Massalians, so things are looking great. Meanwhile, our spy can come back down south towards Massalia itself so that we can get a line of sight of what's going on over there. Alright, actually, welcome to the next turn. We have finally gotten the breakthrough that we needed. The Averni have wiped out the armies of the Massilians up there in the north, which means we can go ahead and attack over here. What we are going to do is we are going to go ahead and deploy both of our armies over here in an ambush stance, and we're going to go ahead and declare that war against, of course, the Massalians. Meanwhile, we can just keep moving this character over here. We want to recruit up some troops, definitely get a couple of those. Quick look over here, we can't really get any cavalry. Meanwhile, we're busy recruiting up some of our new armies as well, and we will have a decent chunk of our armies move down south to kind of help things out. All the way down in Sicilia, the Romans have been destroyed by the Macedonian fleet, so that is great news. What that means is that we will be able to push deeper into, of course, Roman territory over here, and that's exactly what we want to do, but we can't really do that in that turn. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to start building up all of our provinces and basically just bide for our time. I feel the tides are changing in our favor, so soon enough we will be able to attack the Romans. We have gone ahead and leveled this up. Let's build another outpost over there. All of that seems good. Quick look at all of our characters. We do have some new characters over here, some new spies and so forth, so we're going to keep moving our spies across. Meanwhile, a quick look of what's happening over here in Massalia. They have released a faction over here, the Aoshi. We will be declaring war against them, of course. But more importantly, we will have to see how that pans out. We also have a dignitary over here. We're going to go ahead and deploy him as close as possible. He's going to be the future dignitary for the province of Hispania, so we're going to get a lot of economic bonuses with him. Meanwhile, we also have a champion up here in the north. I believe should be over here. Let's go ahead and deploy him in the army, of course. we are almost done, so we can go ahead and recruit up some units over here. We need 6 units of Cheruski assault infantry, a couple of Swaby youth and a couple of Swaby hunters, as well as 2 of these elite swordsmen. We're not really using these elite swordsmen, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna march down south into Ratia at Noricum, which actually has low first class population, and we're gonna disband them and recruit the champions of Tivas, of course. However, with that, it seems like we're almost done with this turn. What we need to do as a final check is to see if we can educate any characters, and yes we can. So we can educate, in fact, many characters. Let's go ahead and educate all of them. There we have it. And finally, what we can also do is continue to improve the relationships of our rival parties, as well as send our character to improve the public order in Sicilia. Perfect. Lastly, since we are Imperium level 5, I think it is time to convert into an empire. But before we do that, we want to secure the loyalty of our rival parties. Just bump it up as much as we can so that they have positive loyalty. And then we are just going to apply the empire government rank. What that should do is give us a lot more recruitment slots, a lot more edicts, which is always welcome. Let's go ahead and pop some of those edicts. We have a couple more edicts, so we can do it in that fashion. Actually, we could go for the Sell Slaves edict in our food province, so let's actually cancel that Sell Slaves edict over here. So perfect. With that, I'm pretty happy with this turn. We're gonna wait for the Massilians to do something stupid over here, and if they do that, then we will have a very clear opening to attack Massalia. Alright, it is the end turn and the Massalians have attacked us, so what we are going to do is we're going to auto-resolve this one. It's a pretty good auto-resolve, and pretty much just wipe out that Massalian army. That's amazing. We're going to go ahead and slave all the captives, and that should be great. The other army is going to retreat. We should be able to wipe it out in the next turn. We're still within our province, which means we can easily replenish in the next turns to come. Alright, welcome to the next turn. Let's have a quick look. None of the characters have leveled up. Quick look at our politics. Politics is looking quite good, quite decent. We're continuing to send our character to improve the public order in certain provinces. Because keep in mind, we're still reforming our government type. Currently, we have about 8 turns before we can finish our reformation. Meanwhile, of course, the Macedonians are pushing into Sicily, and I want to conquer Sicily as quickly as possible. So let's go ahead and attack Acrogas. Should be quite an easy auto-resolve. We can go ahead auto-resolve that one. Let's sack the settlement, and then we're going to go ahead and loot it as well. It's 100% auto-resolve, and there we have it. Wonderful. Perfect. And what we can do is just deploy into the port over here. Quick look at this province. Go ahead and repair that building, convert this building, repair that one, and dismantle that one. We're gonna build a cattle pen over here, and then we're very quickly going to look at all of our provinces, make sure we're building up everything, and yep, we're building everything, so that's going quite good. Meanwhile, over here, characters will have been completely full, I guess, which means we want to attack. But how do we attack here? It's a bit of a conundrum. Let's just move our army down south from the north over here, just building up some troops, trying to get some mercenaries if we possibly can. Just trying to make sure that we have all the cavalry we need. And we're gonna keep moving our armies down south, of course. Try to get some of the troops that are being recruited over here. And eventually we have even the 3rd army in that region, which we can start to move down. And once we get all our armies down south over here, things are going to be really good. However, with that, I'm really contemplating if I should attack the Massalians. I mean, why not? We can check if we will get a decent auto-resolve. I would like to auto-resolve it, but not entirely sure. So let's just go ahead attack them. Okay, that's not a very favorable auto-resolve. However, with 2 of this, yep, it's pretty decent. We can go ahead auto-resolve, and we are going to just simply loot the settlement real quick. Okay, beautiful. With that, we can kind of just deploy this guy into the port so that he replenishes. We can move our spy deeper into Massalian territory, get a line of sight of what's going on. We have another spy. We're going to keep moving him towards Roman Iberia, of course. And our dignitary over here is deployed. We're going to keep moving him as well eventually. However, over here we want to turn off the taxation, quickly repair the buildings we don't need, or dismantle the buildings we don't need and repair the buildings we do need. We are going to make this into, of course, into a research-based province. So alright, with that I think we are almost done with the turn. Just a quick look to see if we can promote any characters, maybe our faction heir. Unfortunately we can't. What we're trying to do is we're going to try to replenish as best as we can, and I think I can't really even move back, so there's no point. I might as well just stay in the settlement. I won't be able to replenish, but I will be able to do so soon enough. However, with that, let's just go ahead and end the turn. But before we do that, quick look at the situation. As you can see, the Lusitania managed to gain some substantial gains in Iberia. So we might actually have to go to war with them to gain control of the province if we can. It's a very lucrative province, Hispania, one of the most strongest province in the game. However, the Egyptians and the Romans having their back and forth, it seems like the Macedonians are starting to pour in towards Sicilia. I will conquer the settlement for myself, and then I don't care if the Macedonians actually move into Africa. It's none of my concern for now. However, with that, let's just go ahead, end the turn, and I will see you all in the future. Alright, welcome to the next turn. Couple of characters have leveled up. Let's just quickly boost their abilities. We're gonna focus on, of course, this character over here. Can focus on the trade agreements. Meanwhile, this character can just move a little bit closer over there and deploy as well. We could go ahead and attack over here the Massalians. They're trying to, muster their army again, but we are not having any of it. We are just going to move our army back towards Genoa. Try to replenish, and then we're going to move back and hit the Massalians before they can gain a foothold back. Meanwhile, we're down south over here. Okay, we cannot recruit any mercenaries, unfortunately. Quick look over here if we can recruit any. Nope, we cannot. So what we're going to do is just transfer off many troops as we can. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we have it. And we'll need another for the other. Okay, that is a little bit tough. So let's just take 2 of these guys, and then we're going to keep marching down south towards Norea. Okay, that seems to be the shorter route. But it is through the Scordisci. Do we have a... We don't have military access, so I don't want to piss them off. They already kind of hate us, so just let's go this way. Meanwhile, you can take a couple of these guys and 4 of these guys. Perfect. Keep moving down south. Excellent. And finally, once this guy is done, he's also going to move over there. So let's just take a quick look at our provinces. You can go ahead, dismantle this building. Perfect. You can upgrade that. And over here, we want to convert everything into cattle pens. Go ahead, dismantle this building as well. I don't think there are any Roman fleets over here, which means we could attack Panormos. Our army is fairly replenished, which is great. But what we're going to do is just quickly check all of our buildings first. Buildings seem to be fine. Very quickly with our faction leader, see if we can educate any characters. Can we educate some more? It seems like we can. So let's actually go ahead and do that. Then we're going to select our youngest character, of course, and try to improve the public order, this time in Sicilia. And we kind of will need it because we're going to go ahead and attack the settlement of Sicilia, of Panormos. So let's just go ahead. Quick auto resolve should be quite easy. There we go, we have it. We're going to sack the settlement and we're going to loot it. It could lead to some serious public order issues, but we're trying to attack this as quickly as possible, and that's because the Macedonians do have an army over here and they have just another army, so they will definitely take Panormos if I do not act real quick. Let's go ahead, repair this building, convert that, repair that, and dismantle that. Perfect. So what we want to do over here is we want to stop the growth per turn, and we want to issue the Sell Slaves Edict. As you can see, our food is looking really good. A very quick way of telling how much food we're going to make is just a quick look over here. Let's take a look at our provinces. Latin Magna Graecia is quite high, but Sicilia is at 10 and it's not even spec'd yet. However, with that, let's go ahead, end the turn, and I will see you all in the future when I'm ready to push into Massalia. Alright, welcome to the next turn. We are going to turn off all of the notifications, have a quick look to see which character has leveled up. It is this dignitary has reached his final level, that's great. Meanwhile, we can just keep moving our character over here. We're going to keep moving down south, all of our characters mainly. And just quickly check if we can get any mercenaries. Unfortunately we can't. And now the main reason we stopped at this turn is because we're kind of staying over here in this province of Sicily, trying to convert it, of course, culturally. It's 37% Latin, but it is quickly going to convert into Germanic culture, of course, and we are in the process of building it up. Speaking of buildings, let's take a quick look at all of our buildings. We can go ahead, upgrade that, upgrade this as well. Quick look at our characters. We have a new character, female character over here that I am busy leveling up. We can go ahead and marry her off. Just let's quickly take a look at her husband as well, but before we do that, we're gonna try to improve her abilities, and already she's a 939. That's amazing. The husband is a narcissist, unfortunately. Let's just go ahead. We can send her on a mission, but I think it's more important that we improve her cunning as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, we can send another character on a mission. We are going to try to improve the public order in Latium, and we are going to keep doing this until, of course, we complete our government reform, which will take us about another 5 turns, and then we should have positive public order in the province. However, as you can see, this entire sea region is surrounded by friendlies, so we don't have a it's not going to be that difficult to, of course, hold on to Sicily, which is great, which kind of means we can go ahead and just deploy into the settlement over here, give it a little bit of that public order boost. Meanwhile, quick look at and to see what exactly is happening over here. The Massalians, they do have a fleet that's somewhere over here that can pretty easily attack Massalia. Massalia doesn't have much of a garrison, so that's a little bit of a problem. What we're going to do is keep moving this army towards the west. We could attack Narbo and take them out. However, I'm a bit unsure if the Romans could attack me there. But let's actually go ahead and do that. Let's just move our main army, Harjas 1 Sweboz. We can issue the night attack, but of course we haven't really fought a battle in this episode, so I do definitely want to showcase a battle. Unfortunately, you know, we have been steamrolling the enemy AI, so no real battles have happened as of yet. Let's just quickly move our dignitary that's meant to be a future dignitary in an economic province. We're going to try to move him as close as possible to the Roman Hispania, of course, and Rome seems to be so concerned with me that they are actually losing a major foothold in Hispania. If they actually move down south and try to hold on to Hispania, that would prolong my engagement against Roma. Meanwhile, up in the north, still a very big deadlock between the Averni, the Pictones, and the Iceni, which is actually great, which means we can easily declare war on them in the coming episodes, of course. But for now, we are going to focus on taking out Roman Hispania. But in this episode, we probably will go for Massalia itself, and if we can afford to do so, we will even try to wipe out the Aushi. However, let's just quickly quick save over here, toggle on that night battle, hop into the battle, and I will see you all in the battle. Alright, so welcome to the first battle of this episode. I do regret that we haven't had a lot of battles in this episode as opposed to the previous episode, of course, but that is simply because we have such a good numerical superiority right now that we are easily able to auto-resolve a lot of battles. Of course, in this battle we are fighting off against the garrison of Narbo in the province of Narbonensis. It is the last remaining settlement of the Massalians, so if we're able to conquer the settlement, then all of the remaining armies of the Massalians should suffer from severe attrition. But I really like this battle, guys, because even though it's quite an easy battle against a garrison, we actually maneuver this battle to perfection, as you will see very soon. Of course, we have our Cherusci assault infantry in the front line over here, and this is our main approach to the settlement, as I always like to attack from this direction. Meanwhile, we are flanking the enemy units with our missile units, of course, and very quickly I realize that of course the enemy has a lot of hoplite units, so if we try to fight toe to toe, it's not going to end too well for us. So I actually decide to maneuver really well and flank the enemy units pretty much with just my Cherusci assault infantry. As you can see over here, I narrow out this unit over here. I decide these two units are going to kind of pin down that unit over there, and meanwhile the other three units are going to move around to flank these units. And it's really interesting to see how this battle unfolds, because there's a lot of very good maneuvering that's happening, and I'm really being aggressive over here because I want to catch the enemy in a disadvantageous position, of course. And if you catch them in that disadvantageous position, of course, you can see that we can really get some really good maneuvering going on over here, and you can see straight off the bat we're able to encircle this unit, and meanwhile we have even managed to surround this unit completely. What also helps is that some of the other enemy units haven't decided to engage my units, so we're able to quickly rout out a lot of these units. Meanwhile over here we're using some of our free units to pin down some more units, basically isolate as many units as we can, and as you can see we have another unit over here ready to flank this unit, so they're going to lose decisively pretty much really quickly. Now we realize that a new unit of enemy hoplites, two of them are going to engage, so we're quickly reforming again, trying to get that flanking happening a bit more than we possibly can, so that we can of course encircle this unit again in that very narrow formation, trying to get around, trying to pin them, and then we're going to hit them from the flank, of course. So things are looking really good over there. See, we managed to completely break into the enemy settlement. Meanwhile, I'm not too concerned about the naval reinforcements. They're still going to take quite a bit of time to get into the battle, but what we are going to try to do is we're going to try to surround the enemy units as much as we can. And once again you can see that we've managed to surround yet another unit of enemy hoplite, so that is pretty much what we're trying to do over here. As you can see, another group of hoplites not exactly aligned towards us, so they're going to be taking quite a bit of casualties against our own units. Of course, they're already wavering as a result of it, and they are going to break, which means we're going to have even more openings to deal with over here. Right over here you can see some of the enemy cavalry, just because of our aggressiveness, they don't have a lot of maneuverable maneuverability. They don't have a lot of open space to move around, which is even better for us because we can continue to keep flanking these units. Very quickly over here you can see enemy cavalry unit actually wavering. That's because they just bogged down in a melee, and once again we're managing to shatter the enemy. So it's really a lot of fighting happening on this side of the battlefield. Of course, we have another side of the battlefield that hasn't really amounted to anything just as of yet. But the main thing for now is that we are quickly able to dispatch a lot of these units, and if you take a look at some of our units, we have hardly taken any casualties, guys. Absolutely dominating. Some of these units have even not taken a single bit of casualties. Meanwhile, this unit is completely surrounded, so there's not much they can do. Our archers are positioned perfectly to fire into the unshielded sides, of course, so they're going to even take a little bit more damage. And as you can see, I am actually retreating over here just for that perfect maneuverability, because I don't want to engage too many units, commit too many units to fighting this unit. What I actually want to do is decisively surround this unit and crush it from all sides. So that's basically what's happening. Meanwhile over here we're doing the same thing to this final melee unit. We're kind of pinning it down over here, and we have our champions of Tivas behind that are going to charge into the rears of this unit and pretty much rout out this unit. So there you have it, another beautiful charge over here, and quickly these guys are going to rout, and pretty much over here we've kind of done the same thing. We've forced this unit into be very confused as to which direction to face, because especially phalanx type units, if you attack them from multiple directions, they're going to have a really hard time deciding which way to face, because phalanx units have a significant penalty from flanking, of course. At long last, the enemy reinforcements, naval reinforcements have landed, but not to worry, we have issued our Sarmatian cataphracts to charge into enemy archers, and they should do really good. Even though they're taking a little bit of missile fire, they are extremely heavily armored. They have about 58 armor, so they're really heavily armored, and they're going to do quite well. We do have another unit of cavalry all the way out in the back. The idea over here is to encircle the enemy from behind. We have one Sarmatian cavalry over here that I am moving away in order to get these units to commit a little bit more deeper, and then I can perform my pincer maneuver and attack them from both sides. Meanwhile, back to the main battle within the settlement. As you can see, we have managed to surround even more of the enemy units, and we're continuing to maneuver, this time of course with our Hari Night Strikers. These guys have done not so much damage, but of course they haven't taken a lot of casualties either. But of course they're going to keep surrounding over here, and there you have it, just continuing to surround. Of course, we as Germans, and you know, we have the scare ability, we have a lot of scare modifiers with our units, of course, as well as our general abilities and army traditions, so we are going to absolutely crush the enemy unit. Noticing that this archer unit is completely isolated, we do manage to attack it eventually, but right now I don't have anything to really attack it. Meanwhile, on that far left flank, you can see some of our cavalry have decided to engage over here, and this is the time I decide to completely circle. Of course, dispatching the enemy missile units with our cavalry is going to be a lot easier than dispatching their melee infantry, but of course it could be a lot worse if these guys were spear infantry instead. But we are going to try to keep encircling them and charging at them with our extremely heavy Sarmatian cataphracts, of course. Let's take a very quick look and see how beautiful this charge is over here. There you have it, some of these units being completely knocked back, and of course we are just going to try to maneuver with some of our other Sarmatian cataphracts. Of course, wonderful looking unit. One of the main disadvantages, of course, of these Sarmatian cataphracts is that you know, these guys are extremely slow moving, so it's going to take a lot of time for you to you know, perform your maneuvers, but once they actually engage, they are really hard hitting, so things are going to look quite well. Meanwhile, on that right hand flank, I do remember I used my general to rout out that missile unit, so they've quickly dispatched, made quick work of these guys, completely taken out. And of course I am further committing my general to deal with the last enemy missile unit. Meanwhile, the general of the garrison as well as the last unit of Hoplite have been completely surrounded, so things are not looking too good for them. As you can see, they are completely confused which way to attack, and of course they are even having their morale shattered, which means I actually decide to follow that up with a charge. Since the battle is going to end anyway real soon, might as well maximize the casualties I dish out and gain some experience, especially for some of my more elite champions of Tiva's units. Really beautiful stuff happening over here, and with that, of course, we have won the battle really decisively, and I really like that. I mean, just look at the carnage over here. Complete disaster for the Massalians, encircled at every bit of the way, completely destroyed. And as you can see, most of the dead over here are actually Massalians. Hardly any Germanic you know, casualties over here. Really struggling to even find one. So with that, really decisive battle. Really liking this fluid Germanic army, and you know, I really look forward to more battles in the future. However, with that, I'm gonna go ahead, end the battle, and I will see you all back in the campaign. And what a perfectly executed battle. I mean, we lost so little men. I mean, it was crazy. Just 58 men lost in perfect maneuvering with this Germanic army. What we are going to do is we're going to sack the settlement, and then we are going to go ahead, attack it once again. And this time we can just turn on the night attack, and should be an easy auto resolve. So let's just auto resolve that one, and we are going to go ahead and loot the settlement. And with that, the Massalians are kind of in a losing situation right now, but they could attack me with a lot of their units, unfortunately. Very quick look to see our spies. Okay, their faction leader is actually a fleet, so this is a little bit problematic, because the Massalians could you know, attack us one last time. But we'll see how that goes. However, let's just dismantle the buildings we don't need very quickly. A quick look at all of our other buildings. We're pretty much done for this turn, so we're gonna go ahead and end the turn, and I will see you all in the future. Alright, welcome to the future. Land is available for acquisition. That is basically Corrales. We will be taking over the settlement. I believe faction has been destroyed. Massalians have been destroyed. Several characters have ranked up, so let's go ahead and give them the ranking abilities. Excellent. Meanwhile, even this Governor General has leveled up, which is amazing. What we want to do over here is see if we can promote him, because that will help with the taxation rate. Excellent. And even a spy over here has leveled up. Excuse me. So before we hop into this turn, we're just quickly going to have a look at politics. Some characters have come of age and we're busy leveling them up, of course. And right now we have to level up the zeal of this character. Nothing much else to do in terms of leveling up. Can't really do a favor because we're at maxed out over here, but we aren't wasting any time. We're basically sending her on missions to improve the public order in provinces. Apart from that, our factionaire can continue to do send a gift so that he gets a lot of gravitas. 505, that's really good. Faction leaders at 51, so still quite a ways off for him to basically die. But I think all should be quite good. Meanwhile, Hartnett, you're at Massalia. Let's see if you have that ability. So who's the other character? Is it Aaron Fried? No. It's definitely one of you guys at Rugion. Okay, so you also have it, so I guess that's good. We're good in terms of politics. Let's take a quick look at our buildings. We are going ahead and upgrading the food in Syracuse. Meanwhile, we have discontinued using Hercynia as a food province. Right, so everything seems to be fine. We're making quite a bit of food actually. 91 surplus of food, as you can see. Latium is pulling in 48, Sicilia is at 46, so we're a surplus of 91, which is absolutely insane, and we still have to level it up. So yeah, pretty much as far as food is concerned, we are looking really good, and we're just one turn away from getting this settlement built up, which means we can upgrade all of our buildings, get a bit more economy. Our economy is bounced back up. We're 1.5 million denarii. We've completed, of course, our reforming our government, so public order isn't really an issue. Most of our provinces are maxed out in public order, and of course we're making 45,000 denarii per turn. Now let's take a quick look at the situation. Of course, it seems like Roma is on the back foot in Africa. In fact, the Antagonists have gotten a foothold in Thapsos. They only have about 6 settlements left in the region. Meanwhile, things are looking bad for them in Hispania as well. We are still just sitting put in Narbonensis. We are about to complete our consolidation of Corsica and Sardinia, so we got to be a little bit careful for Roman fleets in the region. Of course, we got a couple of them over here. If they manage to take this settlement, that will really be bad for us. So what we are actually going to try to do, okay, it's a really minor fleet, so I'm not too worried. We pretty much control this region over here because all of our allies have a lot of troops in this region. In fact, the Macedonians almost captured Kirtan, but the Romans actually wiped them out. The Macedonians have a couple more armies and they're busy ferrying them across into Africa, so that's great because they're keeping the Romans very much engaged over there. Meanwhile, Harja's 6 Macromanos has been fully recruited, so we're going to keep moving him down towards Narbo. We have a governor of Numantijos. We're going to move him towards Narbo as well. Meanwhile, we have Harjas of Marzijos. We're going to move him as well towards Narbo. So quite a lot of people in Narbo. If you're not careful, we could get some supply issues. Meanwhile, Harjas 5 Kimbros is waiting up over here in the Belgic provinces, hopefully trying to get the last 2 Reme Maripos, and then he will be you know, a full stack. We are going to send Harjo 7 Lugijos down south to Beneventum, and the reason being is so that we can get the Equites Campania. We cannot actually get those guys because we need a reform level. That's a little bit weird. That is really weird. Is it tied in behind any of these troops? I don't think so. So I think that is a bug. We cannot get the companion cavalry. Unfortunately, I marched all the way down south for those companion cavalry. Instead, what we are going to do is just get 3 of the Samnite cavalry, and then we are just simply going to move towards Genoa, into the port of Genoa, towards Alalia, and then defending Corrales. However, the reason why I have stopped this at this turn is because we are currently at war with the Orshi. They have decided not to attack us. We have 2 armies in the region. Both were in ambush stance. I was kind of anticipating that they'd attack us. However, they've decided not to. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take the fight to them. So we're going to move our general real close. And then our factioner is going to go ahead, attack this army. We're going to put the night attack on. We should get a pretty significant auto-resolve. Go ahead and slave all the captives, and now we are going to keep pushing with this character, and it should be a very decent auto-resolve. We can peacefully occupy the settlement because it is Germanic culture. We've wiped out the Arshi. We should have a decent amount of population to replenish, and we can go ahead and level up this character as well, which is great news. He might even be able to be promoted. Unfortunately, he can't. So what we are going to do is move back towards Narbo just to split the replenishment strain on Tolosa, of course. And quick look at the Galashi. Okay, relationships are not that amazing with them, but we do not really mind. We are just simply going to dismantle all of the buildings. We don't need repair the buildings we require. And with that, we are ready to go ahead and end the turn. We're almost done with this episode, to be honest. Not that many battles, but what we are going to try to do is we are going to try to move towards Tarraco, at least get a foothold in Iberia, and then conclude the episode. However, with that, let's go ahead, end the turn, and I will see you all in the future when we are ready to take over Tarraco. Alright, welcome to the future. Character has died. Carl, I guess he was the political faction leader of the rivaling political party, so he's no more, which isn't all that bad, I guess, because we have a better trait. Let's take a quick look at all of our buildings. We're making a decent amount of food, decent income as well, and we're busy completing our construction research. We are also upgrading all of our settlements, so we spent a lot of our money in upgrading our settlements. We have broken our alliances with the Carthaginians so that we can try to re-establish our alliance with the Ptolemaics, of course. Let's try and see if payment will entice them. Nope. Then just let's get a trade agreement with them at the very least. Now the reason I paused over here is because yes, we are going to take over Tarraco, but before we go ahead and do that, let's quickly engage in some politics once again. Right. Okay, so over here we want to improve the zeal of this character. Go ahead and send her on a vacation, and that's about it for politics. We can also keep sending a gift to our political rivals to keep them a bit happier. Meanwhile, our faction leader cannot educate anyone, so that's fine. What we are going to do is we're going to attack Tarraco here directly. We have 3 armies here waiting to attack them, so it should be a very good auto-resolve. Let's just position ourselves over there, faction leader. Meanwhile, we have a 3rd army over here as well. We can move up real close, get a line of sight. It's just 2 armies. But that's fine. I think that is in fact a lot better. We've taken quite a bit of losses, but we are going to go ahead and just loot the settlement. We're not entirely sure if we can you know, hold on to that settlement. What we are going to do is just simply repair some buildings. Go ahead, dismantle the other buildings, repair this one, and we could actually just repair this one, convert this, and we turned off the taxation. That's great. Go ahead, deploy into the port over there, and you can just keep trying to march up. Try to keep marching back up towards Narbo, and then we'll see how we go from there. Meanwhile, we have this character over here, cannot get his final cavalry. Over here, can we get a Reme Maripos? Unfortunately, we can't. We have another general over here that we can move all the way into the port, Harja 7 Lugios. And we're just going to put him into the port so that he can move a bit further, try to get to Saguntum as quickly as possible, get a foothold in Iberia itself, and we could possibly even take out Iberia, but of course we are running out of time for this episode. Quick look at some of our other provinces. We have Germanic culture pretty much everywhere. We're just slowly but surely moving our dignitary to culturally convert provinces. He can go into this area, which is a little bit closer. Meanwhile, this character can also keep moving in this direction. Perfect. And yeah, with that, it seems like we are almost done for this episode. Just a quick look. I know a lot of these ports I'm not yet upgrading them because I don't want them to be fishing ports because they give public order issues. I'm just waiting for them to become harbors and boatyards, but in order to do that I actually need to research it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just pretty much going to try to complete our research over here, and then we'll go ahead and you know, select these. I think the way to go about it is to complete this research and then go for the leather sales, which will only take me 2 turns, and then enclosed settlements, and then oak construction. So while I do that, while I kind of switch in between technologies, I can build you know, a leather sales, and that should take about 6 turns, which means there's no point actually researching this. So I could actually research it back to back, but we'll have to see how that goes in the future episodes. However, with that, it seems to be quite good. We've made some decent progress. Let's just talk about the campaign ending. You know, we have really massively expanded in this episode. We conquered the 2 settlements in Magna Graecia, 3 settlements in Sicilia, 2 settlements in Corsica and Sardinia. That totals us up to 7, and we managed to conquer 4 settlements over here down towards Iberia, including Narbonensis. So that's a total of 11 settlements, by far a maximum expansion in a single episode. Of course, Roma is crumbling. We are going to just simply take Hispania, and then we are going to ignore Roma for the rest. Speaking of Roma crumbling, of course, the Macedonians have managed to get a solid foothold in Africa, including the Athenians, who are still a subject of the Macedonians. The Ptolemaics are going to, you know, kind of be blocked off by the Macedonians. They're not going to be able to expand further, which is kind of nice because I don't want them to get too big. Not that I'm interested in any of their land or fighting them in the future, but of course I definitely don't want them to be a huge faction over here. I definitely want to be the dominant faction. And speaking of dominant factions, just look at the Scordisi. They have expanded into a beautiful shape, if I must say so, pretty much covering the entire Carpathian range as well as the Pontic steppe almost. So really good stuff for the Scordisi. They have become quite a significant faction in the east, of course. However, in the north, still a deadlock between the Iceni and the Averni. I could pretty much ignore them and consolidate my entire conquest of Iberia in the coming episodes and then turn my attention up north, or I could decide to fight several wars, some in Iberia, some up in the north. So that will be the direction going forward, of course. Down south over here, Mauritania is pretty much balkanized, very broken up into Carthage, what remains of Carthage. Of course, we have the Gaetuli that has 2 settlements of Gadir as well as Rutubis, and we have the Mori at Siga, who are actually our puppet state. I managed to acquire a puppet statehood diplomatically, which I guess is kind of nice, and I hope that they actually manage to secure this province, because if they do that, then you know, my conquest of Iberia will be pretty much secure, because the Romans will not be able to reinforce Iberia through y'all. And speaking of reinforcements, I don't think the Romans have any significant armies left. Just one singular army over there that could take out Thapsos, but if they do, you have 2 Antigonid armies over there. I don't see anything over here. I don't think there's much over there. And meanwhile, all that remains is this. So the Romans are pretty much a shadow of their former selves. It took us 2 episodes to break their backs. Of course, we had the help from the entire world who's at war with Roma. If we just take a quick look at Roma, we can perhaps, in the diplomacy map, perhaps see they're pretty much at war with everyone surrounding them. So I don't think they're gonna last, even if I leave them to their own demise in Africa. However, going forward in the future, we are going to go ahead and conquer Iberia for ourselves. That might put us at odds with the Lusitani, who kind of own Numantia. The idea is to own Numantia ourselves. However, we will have to see how that goes in the future. Of course, we will have to secure all of Iberia. I would like to secure all of Iberia. I could declare war against, you know, Carthage as well as the Gaetuli, and kind of feed my puppet state down south over here. Not really much I can recruit from this puppet state. I don't think they have any good cavalry, so to speak. And if they do, I might get some of that cavalry. I think they might have some armored version of Numidian cavalry, which is kind of nice to have. Meanwhile, over here, just quick look to see what kind of cavalry we have in the province. Nothing really that great. We are going to just check the AOR. We don't have, so I guess all the best Iberian cavalry is in the province of Hispania itself. However, that being said and done, I hope you all liked the video. If you liked it, then please like the video, because it does help out with the algorithm. And don't forget to subscribe if you are interested for more. Peace and love.